What you need to know about food chain. The definition of a food chain is a series of organisms that begin with the producer, through which energy and nutrients are transferred. It shows the feeding relationships between organisms, indicating who eats whom. Trophic level. The position an organism occupies, or each step in a food chain, is known as its trophic level. It is pretty straightforward. The plant is in the first trophic level, the caterpillar is in the second level, the yellow tit is in the third trophic level, and the eagle is in the fourth trophic level. Producer is a fancy way of referring to plants and algae. They are called producers because they make their own food and occupy the first trophic level. Those in your O-level syllabus are basically green plants, but algae are also producers. Herbivores are plant eaters and feed on the producers. Since they are the first organisms that consume other organisms, they are known as primary consumers and occupy the second trophic level. Carnivores or meat eaters feed on other consumers. They start occupying the third trophic level. Secondary consumers feed on the primary consumers, and tertiary consumers feed on secondary consumers. Non-cyclic. A food chain seldom has 5 or 6 trophic levels. All the energy in the food chain originates from the sun and is converted into chemical energy by the producers. However, energy is lost to the surroundings through respiration, and not all parts of plants are digestible, so not all energy made by the producers is transferred to the primary consumers. Energy is also lost from the primary consumers as heat from respiration. Primary consumers also ingest and excrete waste, which is not consumed by the secondary consumers. The same applies between secondary consumers and tertiary consumers. At each trophic level, on average, only around 10% of the original energy is passed on to the next trophic level. If we start off with 100% energy with the producer, the primary consumer will only receive 10% of the energy produced by the plant. For secondary consumers, they only receive 1% of the original chemical energy produced by the plant. When it comes to tertiary consumers, what is left is only 0.1%. Hence, there is very little energy left for consumers higher up the food chain, and you will seldom see food chains that have 5 or 6 trophic levels. On average, only 10% of the energy produced or obtained from the lower trophic level flows to the next trophic level. Energy is lost from the food chain largely as heat transferred to the environment through respiration. Excretory waste also contains trapped chemical energy. Trapped energy from uneaten parts or dead bodies of animals is also lost from the food chain as they do not flow to the next trophic level. Instead, they are acted on by decomposers, which obtain the energy they need from feces and carcasses. Heat energy is also transferred from the decomposers to the environment and does not return to the food chain. Since the flow of energy is only in one direction and is not recycled, we term the flow as non-cyclic. Food web. An ecosystem is more complex than just linear food chains. Different food chains can interlink, forming a food web, which gives a better picture of the whole ecosystem. Some animals can occupy different trophic levels in a food web. For example, the eagle can be in the 4th trophic level or the 5th. From this example, you can see that a 5th trophic level is possible when the apex predator, or the top consumer, is supported by more than a single food chain. You can also see how a change in the population of an organism can have an impact on the whole ecosystem. An increase in the population of grasshoppers can cause a decrease in crops, but will result in an increase in the population of frogs and rats as they have more food available. An increase in the frog population can cause a decrease in butterflies and dragonflies. The balance of an ecosystem is important, as overpopulation of an organism can be very destructive to the whole food web.